Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, where we blend casual conversations with insightful discussions on the latest in technology and gadgets. And, this week is no different. We're going to dive deep into something that's been creating a lot of buzz lately: quantum computing.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically, we're going to look at what Nvidia's been up to, especially after their big GTC event.
Right, their big event. Lots of talk about quantum.
It seems like quantum computing, this super futuristic tech, is suddenly a lot closer than it felt before. Or at least everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, and it's interesting, you look at the quantum computing stocks, and there's been some downward pressure recently.
Right.
So it feels like people are kind of evaluating where things stand and what the potential is, in the short term.
Okay, so let's unpack that a bit, because one of the things that really stood out to me is this apparent shift in thinking from Jensen Huang, the CEO of Nvidia.
Yeah.
I very clearly remember him saying not too long ago that quantum computers are still a long way off from being actually useful.
Yeah, that's right. His comments from earlier this year definitely made some waves.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, they maybe contributed to some of that downward pressure on those stocks. But then at GTC, it felt like there was a bit of a change, almost like a mea culpa, saying, okay, maybe the timeline's a bit shorter than we initially thought.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's kind of like, what's behind that shift? That's the fascinating part.
Exactly. It almost felt like he convened this panel of experts specifically to, hear the other side of the argument.
Right.
But here's the thing. Nvidia doesn't actually build quantum computers. So what exactly are they doing in this space? What's their play?
Well, you can think of them as like the infrastructure providers. They're building the architecture, the software, the services.
Okay.
For the companies that are actually focused on building the quantum computers, the hardware.
No.
It's like they're providing the tools for these explorers venturing into this new frontier.
Mm.
And their vision seems to be this future where you have these really large-scale quantum processors integrated into our data centers.
Okay.
Working side by side with the traditional computing power that we have.
So it's not like quantum computers are going to replace everything overnight.
Right.
It's more like a partnership.
Yeah, a hybrid approach. Like the classical supercomputers will handle the heavy lifting, and then these specific super complex problems, they'll get handed off to these quantum accelerators.
Gotcha. So like a tag team.
Exactly.
Right.
And a major focus for Nvidia right now is helping those companies that are actually building the quantum tech to deal with some really tough challenges, like error correction, which is how do you keep these very delicate quantum calculations stable?
Right.
And device calibration, making sure that the hardware is functioning optimally. They're using their expertise in accelerated supercomputing to basically build the control systems for these very sensitive quantum systems.
That makes sense. Like they're providing the diagnostics and the repair tools to make sure these quantum devices are even reliable enough to be used in the real world one day. And it sounds like their tech is becoming the standard for researchers in quantum.
Oh, absolutely. They've mentioned collaborating with over 160 groups in quantum computing, and they're exploring all sorts of potential applications.
Wow, that's a lot of groups.
It is. And what's really exciting is this growing connection between quantum computing and accelerated computing, the kind of systems we use to train those big AI models.
And here's where things get really interesting. Because someone brought up this point that the results coming out of a quantum computer, the solutions to those super hard problems, could be used to actually train those foundation models for AI. It's almost like a feedback loop, this two-way street between AI and quantum.
Right. Not only can AI be used to advance quantum computing, like optimizing error correction protocols, but quantum could also potentially provide entirely new data sets that could drastically improve AI capabilities in the future. Of course, there's this big question that still lingers. What exactly makes quantum computing useful?
Yeah, it seems like everyone has their own definition.
Yeah, there's no one-size-fits-all answer.
But I think the general feeling is that Nvidia's tech is really pushing the field forward, that whole accelerated quantum computing thing we keep hearing.
Absolutely. And their new research center in Boston seems like a real commitment to bridging that gap.
Yeah.
Actually connecting quantum hardware to their powerful GPUs and building those early versions of quantum accelerated supercomputers. It's moving beyond theory into actual engineering.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit and talk about D-Wave. They seem to have a very different perspective on where quantum computing is at right now and what useful even means.
Yes, they do. D-Wave has been using this approach called quantum annealing, and their CEO, Colin Baratz, has been very clear that they believe they already have useful, important applications today.
Right. They even publish research in Science showing how they can calculate the properties of magnetic materials in ways that traditional computers just can't.
Yeah.
And that sounds huge. Like it could revolutionize how we discover new materials and significantly reduce R&D costs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're also doing some pretty cool work in blockchain technology. They've shown that their quantum computers can do those complex hashing functions used in cryptocurrency, proof of work.
Okay.
And that could potentially mean a massive reduction in the energy consumption associated with crypto mining.
Wow.
They even have a prototype quantum blockchain running on a few of their systems. So this isn't just theoretical anymore. It's showing that quantum could offer solutions to real-world problems right now.
A quantum-powered blockchain, that really flips the script on the whole idea of quantum computing being decades away from having an impact. And it sounds like D-Wave already has clients using their tech to solve real problems.
Oh, yeah, they do. NTT Docomo, for example, is using D-Wave to optimize how resources are allocated for their cell towers. So, while Nvidia's CEO might have his timeline, D-Wave's CEO is saying, hey, our tech is mature, it's delivering value right now.
Okay. So it's really interesting that D-Wave doesn't seem to rely as heavily on Nvidia's error correction or calibration technologies. Is that a fundamental difference in their approach?
It is. Because of their quantum annealing approach and the fact that they're working with these systems that have a huge number of qubits already, thousands of them.
Okay.
Their needs for error correction
Yeah.
and how they calibrate their systems are very different compared to, let's say, gate model quantum computing, which is what a lot of the companies that NVIDIA partners with are focusing on. It's like, imagine building a specific type of lock versus building a set of tools that could be used to build many different types of locks.
Yeah.
D-Wave is optimizing for one specific kind of quantum problem,
Right.
while the others are aiming for a more general purpose approach, which means dealing with that error correction challenge.
So it's like two different paths in the quantum landscape.
Yeah.
Different goals, different ideas about what a win looks like right now. But at the end of the day, for any new technology to really take off, it needs to make money.
Right.
How do these companies generate revenue to actually fund all this R&D?
Absolutely. And that's something that was actually highlighted by, a former CEO in the quantum space in some recent discussions.
Yeah.
There's a consensus that you need to find those early applications that can actually generate revenue to fuel the R&D.
Okay.
And it seems like areas like chemistry and materials science are being seen as potential early wins for quantum. Those fields where quantum might be able to solve problems that we just couldn't crack before.
Right.
And NVIDIA's research center in Boston will also be key in trying to crack the code on those error correction technologies, which are seen as essential for opening up a much wider range of applications in the future.
So a lot of exciting developments, but the real question is, how do we see these early revenues coming in? How do these companies become profitable?
Right, exactly. It's about building that solid technological foundation and then finding those niche applications where quantum's unique capabilities can offer a real advantage. And that's going to lead to those revenue streams. The whole quantum computing landscape is changing rapidly with these collaborations and these different perspectives on how we get there.
Yeah.
It's definitely something to keep an eye on.
Thanks for tuning into Byte-Sized Tech. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of quantum computing, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more fun tech discussions. It's a wild world out there, and we'll be back to break it all down for you soon. See ya.